At 78, Sally Field finally tells the truth about Robin Williams. Sally Field was born Sally Margaret Field on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California. She grew up in a family deeply connected to the entertainment industry. Her mother, Margaret Field, was an actress, and her stepfather, Jock Mahoney, was also a well-known actor and stuntman. These early influences, combined with the vibrant cultural environment of Southern California, nurtured her artistic sensibilities and gave her an intimate understanding of the challenges and rewards of a life in show business. Field first rose to fame in the 1960s with her breakout role in the light-hearted sitcom Gidget from 1965 to 1966. Though the show lasted only one season, her portrayal of a spirited, relatable teenager made her a household name. She followed that success with The Flying Nun from 1967 to 1970, playing Sister Bertrille, a quirky novice nun whose habit allowed her to literally take flight. While the show's premise was whimsical and often limiting, Field's natural charm and comedic timing carried it, solidifying her status as one of television's most endearing stars. As her career progressed, Field wanted to be taken seriously as a dramatic actress. She trained extensively, including at the Actors Studio under the legendary Lee Strasberg. Her perseverance led to more complex roles, proving her incredible range. Her performance in the 1976 television movie Sybil, in which she portrayed a woman with dissociative identity disorder, was a breakthrough moment. It required immense emotional depth, and her raw, fearless performance earned her an Emmy Award and widespread critical acclaim. This role marked a turning point in her career. The late 1970s and 1980s became a golden era for her, with major roles that earned her deep respect. She won her first Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Norma Ray in 1979, where she played a working-class Southern woman turned passionate labor union activist. The film had a powerful social message and showcased her strength as an actress. A few years later, she won her second Oscar for Best Actress for Places in the Heart in 1984, a poignant story set during the Great Depression. Her acceptance speech became iconic with the line, "You like me right now, you like me." Over the decades, Field balanced film, television, and stage work, showing her adaptability and dedication to her craft. She starred in a wide range of films, including Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, Steel Magnolias, 1989, Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, and Forrest Gump, 1994, each time leaving a lasting impression with her warmth and emotional depth. On television, she shined in series like Brothers and Sisters, 2006-2011, which earned her another Emmy, and on Broadway, she wowed critics in productions like The Glass Menagerie. Her later career has been just as strong. In 2012, she received acclaim for her portrayal of Mary Todd Lincoln in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln, earning another Academy Award nomination. Even in her 70s, she continues working, driven by her deep love of storytelling and performance. Field is also admired for her honesty and resilience in her personal life. She has openly shared the challenges she's faced, struggles with self-doubt, Hollywood pressure, and relationships. In 2018, she released her memoir In Pieces, where she candidly explored her life journey, family complexities, and search for self-understanding. Her personal life has always intrigued the public, from her first marriage in 1968 to Stephen Craig during the early years of her acting career. Though they separated in 1973 and divorced in 1975, the relationship was meaningful. During that time, she became a mother to 2 sons. Peter Craig, born in 1969, grew up surrounded by film and storytelling, becoming a novelist and screenwriter behind films like The Town, 12 Strong, and Top Gun: Maverick. Eli Craig, born in 1972, leaned toward directing and acting, best known for the cult horror comedy Tucker and Dale vs. Numbers. Evil. Field has always prioritized motherhood and ensured her sons had as normal an upbringing as possible. After her divorce from Craig, Field began a high-profile relationship with actor Burt Reynolds in 1976. They became one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples, co-starring in 4 films: Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, The End, 1978, Hooper, 1978, and Smokey and the Bandit 2, 1980. Their real-life chemistry mirrored their on-screen passion, but their relationship, though filled with love, was complex. They officially split in 1980 but remained in an on-and-off relationship until 1982. Reynolds later referred to Field as the one that got away, expressing deep regret. For Field, while the romance didn't last, it was an important chapter that influenced both her personal growth and her career. In 1984, she married her second husband, film producer Alan Greisman. Together they had a son, Samuel Sam Greisman, born in 1987. Unlike his half-brothers, Sam pursued a quieter path, occasionally exploring writing and directing. Field has publicly supported Sam, especially when he came out as gay, and has since been an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights. Field and Greisman divorced in 1994, another emotional but pivotal experience that reinforced Field's resilience. Through marriages, heartbreaks, and motherhood, Sally Field has built a life as rich and complex as any of her screen roles. Her 3 sons reflect her creativity and strength in their own unique ways. Now, at 78, Field feels more open about sharing truths she once held close, including her deeply emotional bond with Robin Williams. While they never had a romantic relationship, their connection ran deep. Field described it as complicated, layered with affection that didn't quite fit the mold of romance. Their most iconic collaboration was in Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, where the chemistry between their characters, former spouses navigating a new reality, felt strikingly real. Field said that their closeness on screen reflected their bond off-screen, a friendship filled with emotional intimacy. She admitted feeling a profound sadness and regret about Williams's passing, saying, "I miss him terribly, but I also know that I didn't always say the things I should have said when he was alive." That vulnerability has become more natural for her in later years, as she reflects on what it means to lose someone you care for. Field described Williams as a whirlwind of energy, humor, and insight. Robin was exhausting in the best way, she said, recalling how he could make everyone laugh until their stomachs hurt, then surprise them with something deeply sensitive and heartbreaking. To Field, he was both clown and poet, light and shadow. She always sensed a sadness in him, even in his happiest performances. "He wore it like a shadow," she said. That recognition left her feeling protective of him. Looking back, she regrets not reaching out more. She wonders if he ever truly understood how deeply he was loved, not just by fans but by those closest to him. Her memories of him are full of gratitude. "I'm so lucky I got to know him the way I did," she said. "He wasn't just a genius, he was a deeply human soul." That humanity, she believes, is what audiences felt when watching him. Someone who could make you laugh and cry in the same breath. For Field, Robin Williams represents the fragile line between joy and sorrow, and the importance of saying what matters before time runs out. By sharing her truth now, she pays tribute to a friend she adored while offering a message about love, honesty, and the impermanence of life. Her words are not just a celebration of Williams' brilliance, but also a reflection of her own growth and the unfinished conversations that linger in all of us. In her memoir, Field also revealed a deeply vulnerable part of her own story, her struggle with severe depression during her late teens. It wasn't just sadness, but an overwhelming emotional weight that affected every aspect of her life. She described a restless urgency and anxiety, a need to find something that was festering inside her. It was as though her spirit was pushing against invisible walls, longing for freedom, clarity, and purpose. This depression came with relentless self-questioning, a gnawing sense of incompleteness, and the feeling that something important was waiting to emerge inside her. Without a map or clear path, she fought through those years alone. Her honesty about this time in her life adds another layer to her legacy, not just as a celebrated actress, but as someone who survived and rose above deep emotional challenges. During those silent battles of her youth, Sally Field carried within her a storm of emotion that she didn't yet have the words or tools to express. While others may have seen a bright, smiling girl full of promise and potential, inside she often felt like she was crumbling under the weight of invisible pressures. The clash between her public persona and private pain created a disorienting split between how she was perceived and who she believed herself to be. This disconnect only deepened the isolation she felt. It was as if she was playing a role even when the cameras weren't rolling, pretending to be okay, to be cheerful, to be normal, when in truth she was desperately searching for solid ground beneath her feet. Her early experiences in Hollywood, while exciting and filled with possibility, also brought a unique kind of emotional strain. She was constantly surrounded by expectations. Expectations to smile, to perform, to be charming, to be agreeable, and to fit into the narrow mold of what a young female star was supposed to be. That constant pressure to conform chipped away at her sense of self, making her feel more like a product than a person, more like a projection of other people's desires than someone who had the right to define her own identity. She often questioned whether she was good enough, not just as an actress, but as a person. There was always this lingering feeling that she was failing some test she didn't understand, that no matter how hard she worked or how many smiles she gave, she still hadn't earned the right to feel worthy. This emotional burden became heavier as she moved deeper into the industry, surrounded by bright lights but often shrouded in internal darkness. The loneliness she experienced was not just about being physically alone, but about feeling emotionally disconnected from others. Even when she was surrounded by cast members, producers, or audiences who adored her, she sometimes felt like no one truly saw her, not the real her, the girl behind the smile, behind the roles, behind the fame. She longed for someone to recognize her pain, to hold space for her vulnerability, but often felt that the only way she could survive was to keep those feelings hidden. Over time, this led her to internalize much of her suffering, turning her pain inward and becoming her own harshest critic. She began to believe the negative voices in her head, the ones that told her she wasn't talented enough, strong enough, or lovable enough. And yet, even in the darkest moments, there was a spark inside her that refused to go out. It was that same restless energy she spoke of, that urgency, that need to find something greater than the pain, something that would give meaning to her struggles. That spark kept her moving forward, kept her reaching for something more, even when she couldn't see the path ahead. Acting, in many ways, became both her refuge and her release. It allowed her to channel those overwhelming emotions into her characters, to express what she couldn't say in her own voice through the voices of others. Each role became a lifeline, a chance to step out of her pain and into someone else's shoes, to lose herself in a story and, in doing so, begin to find herself. As she grew older, Field began to recognize that her sensitivity was not a weakness, but a gift. The same emotions that once overwhelmed her also allowed her to bring unmatched depth and honesty to her performances. Audiences didn't just watch Sally Field. They felt her. They believed her. They connected with the rawness in her eyes, the tremble in her voice, the truth in every tear she shed on screen. Her vulnerability became her superpower, and the very thing that once made her feel broken became the cornerstone of her brilliance. The journey to self-acceptance was not quick or easy, but it was real, and it was hard-earned. Field's ability to survive, to transform, and to speak openly about her emotional battles has helped destigmatize mental health struggles for countless fans. She has shown that behind every smiling face there can be hidden wounds, and that healing begins not with pretending everything is fine, but with telling the truth about the pain. Her willingness to speak about the things that once shamed her has not only empowered others, but has also given her a deep sense of peace. At 78, she stands as a woman who is no longer afraid to be seen for who she truly is, not just the award-winning actress, but the human being who fought for her voice, her sanity, and her wholeness.